How's it going, everyone? It's Milwaukee coming back at you once again, and today we're going to be discussing Aquaman The Trench by Jeff Johns with art by Ivan Reyes. Let's get into it. Issue 1 sees aquatic life forms emerging from the trenches of the deep Atlantic Ocean while Aquaman is forced to make a choice. Issue 2 sees Aquaman and Mera battle the fish people who are attacking the coastline. Issue 3. After meeting with Dr. Shin, Aquaman heads for the trenches of the deep. Issue 4. Aquaman battles the ruler of the trenches. Issue 5 sees Aquaman doing battle over an old Atlantean artifact. And in issue 6, Mera goes shopping for some dog food. Overall, I will say this is kind of a strange volume here. It's a brand new number 1, New 52, Aquaman, a character myself and many others probably normally wouldn't read, but this was a perfect jumping on point. Superstar creatives, Jeff Johns, Ivan Reyes. What could go wrong? Well, turns out that if the book doesn't really take itself seriously, you as a reader are going to have trouble taking it seriously. Once again, I feel like we get the worst of Jeff Johns here with the pop culture references and the jokes. Normally, I'm a Jeff Johns fan. I sing his praises on his Green Lantern run, but here he's constantly referencing fish jokes with Aquaman and the Saturday Night Live skits. Like, why does Saturday Night Live exist? In this world, why is Aquaman being treated as a joke in this universe where he should have been around for the past 5 years as a member of the Justice League? Yeah, so in Justice League Volume 2, The Villain's Journey, right, it was all about, the villain Graves, who wrote the book on the Justice League. So the populace of Earth should have been more than familiar with Aquaman at this point, and why they're constantly making jokes about him to his face. It's a little jarring, like he stops a bank robbery and the people are like, oh, it's just Aquaman. We got it from here, Aquaman. Go, talk to fish or whatever. And, that's like a good 50% of the book. Constant fish jokes. Yes, I understand in the real world, Aquaman is treated as a joke. But in universe, he should be treated, on the levels of Superman. He is a member of the Justice League. I don't know. I feel like the book does a poor job helping new readers to the character, care about the character, because if the author treats him as a joke, why bother reading? But I will say Jeff Johns works his magic, and he sticks the landing in the end. And he hooks you for the next volume, and I don't know how he does it, but I guess that's why he's Jeff Johns and I'm not, right? So, but still, doesn't take away from the fact that I wish the book was taken a little bit more seriously. The humor just wasn't landed for me. Perhaps you'll feel different. What was landing for me, though, was Ivan Reyes. His artwork, very expressive here. A lot of, like I said, great expressions. Horror, joy, fear, anger. He tackles it all. He does it well. Visually, the book is a treat to look at, especially when Mera is on page. But you don't need me to tell you that, right? Speaking of Mera, we learned in the final issue of the book, one of the things that hooks readers in is that Mera, she's harboring a secret. Things aren't maybe necessarily as they seem, and it makes you wonder, does Aquaman even know what's going on? You got to keep reading to find out. Great hook with that secret. Looking forward to seeing what comes next. One of the things that I didn't care for about the book, other than the humor, was the constant, people not believing in Atlantis or Atlanteans or like Aquaman and stuff. It's like, in a world where Superman exists, in a world where Wonder Woman and Themyscira exist, you have trouble believing that Atlantis exists and was sunk into the ocean? It's just a disconnect, right? Some heroes in the DC universe are treated as gods, others, as jokes. It's just a disconnect, like I said. It was rubbing me the wrong way when I was reading the book. You just got tired of hearing it, like every other page. Atlantis exists? Aquaman, you're real? Hasn't the guy been around for 5 years in the Justice League at this point? Whatever. Again. And of course, like I said, the pop culture references, a little heavy-handed here. Again, a disconnect. It shouldn't be in the DC universe for Aquaman. It should be taken seriously. Sure, in the real world, I get it. Aquaman's a joke. We all remember the Aquaman video game and all that stuff. But every other page with this stuff. Fish out of water jokes. Go talk to fish. There's a point where Aquaman goes to a restaurant and he orders fish, and people are panicking like, "Oh, you're a cannibal. You can't eat fish. You talk to them." It just grew tired and stale. But like I said, Jeff Johns does nail it at the end. He hooks you with the final 2 issues, which feel like they're going to be tacked on because the Trench storyline only lasts 4 issues, and right when it gets good, it gets over, and you're like, what the hell was that? So the final 2 issues feel like they're going to be tacked on, but they're the real, the hooks. Atlantean artifacts appearing on, shoreline, Atlantean soldiers battling Aquaman, Mira, her past, her secret, what's going on with that? Big war, battle coming up. Make sure you want to stay tuned. So overall, I'm going to go ahead and give Aquaman The Trench a 4 out of 5. Not a perfect book, but it does good enough job to keep me interested for the next volume. And speaking of the next volume, I'll see you there.